Whether you're right or whether you're wrong, you're definitely right. Who said that? That was Henry Ford, and he was an industrialist, American industrialist. What did he mean? He mean basically what you do is right, which isn't entirely true because obviously you've got to stay within law. But guys, we're talking about emotions, and I think emotions are one of those kind of mysterious things which are very individual to ourselves and can have us doing and saying things we wouldn't perhaps dream of doing because of emotions taking over. Now, can you control your emotions? How can you do that? We're going to talk about how to do that. Also, I'm going to explain why I have an orange balloon. Guys, listen on for more. Hello and welcome. My name's Steve Beckles-Ebusua, the speaker with the orange tie. And guys, welcome to the Orange Room. How you doing? Those that don't know anything about me, I'm a motivational speaker. Go to schools, colleges and universities and companies around the UK, Europe and in the States. Now, as you might have heard me said before, things have changed quite a lot, and as you've obviously realised, and I always say this as well, I don't talk about the whole lockdown thing. It's not about that now, it's about us moving forward, and I've decided to do that, and I'm training to become a therapist. So I'm still a speaker and loving it and having a passion, but what I've decided to do, and I've started doing these like back in March, so it's nearly a year, what I've decided to do is actually, as I'm studying, I'm actually going to be sharing my principles, stuff that I've learned. In fact, I'm covering emotions today. I mean, what a weekend to cover it with the Valentine's, all the rest of it. But I'm covering emotions, and I'm going to talk about where emotions come from, what they're all about. I mean, we're going to have a lot of fun. Guys, you're going to have to put your mental track shoes on because I'm going to be giving you loads of stuff. This is a lot of stuff that I've actually just literally learnt myself, and I'm putting them into my assignment at the moment. But I'm having an amazing time, and basically the whole idea is just to, I suppose, share my ideas with you. But more than that, hopefully getting you to think to yourself, do you know what, I can learn from this and do something with it. So, as I always state, it's not about getting through this, it's getting from this. So guys, let's get this show on the road. Now, you would have seen by my strap line, always have a strap line, and I said, what has blowing up a balloon, orange of course, got to do with your emotions? Now, this is really important. Let me take you back a little bit about some of the stuff I've spoken about. So Jim Rohn, big fan of Jim Rohn. He's a motivational speaker. He's now passed away. But what he said is, if there's a boat sailing on a lake and the wind is blowing, what he's always said is that you can't control the blowing of the wind, but you can control the setting of your sail. And so with that same mindset and talking about emotions, when I was talking about how blowing up a balloon is like your emotions, let me explain. If I was to blow this balloon up, here we go, live on air, okay? As I've blown this up, all the control was from me into that balloon. So it didn't matter what was out there, it's irrelevant, all right? As long as I can blow into this balloon, it doesn't matter what goes on around me. Does that make sense? And so the point I was making is that blowing up a balloon is very similar to your emotions, because you can blow it halfway, okay? Or I can blow it all the way. That's not all the way, but does that make sense? What we forget is that we are in control of our emotions. Now, I posed a question, can you control your emotions? I believe the answer is no. But you can control what happens to you. Yeah, which is obviously then you saying, right, I'm not going to get angry about this. I'm not going to get, I'm not going to get into an argument about it. You can control that. Does that make sense? So the point I'm trying to make to you is that you have emotions and you can't control them. However, you can control yourself that then controls the emotions. Now, like I said, I've got a massive assignment on emotions, and I'm right in the middle of it. And I thought, do you know what? I'm going to do emotions this weekend, obviously because of Valentine's, and I'm going to be dropping in loads of theories. Also, I'm going to give you CBT, which is what I'm studying, some homework to go away with. Now, CBT, those who are not familiar with it, stands for Cognitive Behavioural Therapy. And what it's based on is your thoughts, your feelings, and your behaviours. I'll give an example. For example, you cook a meal and it turns out being a mess. Your thoughts are, oh, it's a mess. You then feel, oh, I'm just not good enough. Your behaviour is then you might go into a lull and feel really down about yourself. Does that make sense? So thoughts, feelings and behavior. That's really what CBT is all about, and that's what I'm studying. So I'm bringing that with you at the moment. So let's have a quick look at the word emotion. Emotion comes from the Latin word emovere, and it means subjective feelings of an individual. So in other words, the feelings you have are unique to you, they're subjective to you, okay? And what's important is in psychology, they don't actually use the word emotions, they use the word affect, okay? That's the word they use in psychology, all right? So affect is a reflection of how you are on the inside, and you show that on the outside. Does that make sense? That's affect. Now, inappropriate affect would be something like going to a funeral, for example, and there'll be a man laughing. Does that make sense? Because it isn't coherent with how you should be feeling in an environment like that. And that's normally linked with people that possibly have mental health issues. Does that make sense? So it's behavior that just seems really kind of not conducive to the environment it's in, okay? So let's just recap on that. So psychologists talk about the word emotions, but they switch it and they use the word affect. They don't use the word emotions, it's more affect. Let's now look at emotions, and I've been drawing. I hope you're ready for this. Okay, I'm not going to say anything, but tell me, well, try to, you can message if you want, what emotion is that? Okay, there's one. I know you love my drawings, they're excellent, yeah? Here's my other drawing. What about this one? I know you're envious of my drawings, so I know that, yeah? And here's my next one. Okay, now have you noticed with all three of those pictures, they were universal. So I could show this in Greece, Spain, Germany, Nigeria, anywhere, because this would be recognized as someone being happy, someone being sad, and someone being, someone being sad, someone being angry. Does that make sense? Now, what's this all about? Emotions and feelings vary to environments we're in. However, culturally can make a difference as well. Did you know, in the US and even in this country, if you were to do this, yeah, that would be fine. But if you did that in the Philippines, you might get arrested. Did you know if you do this in this country and in the States, it's fine? But if you go to Greece, you could be in big trouble. So interpretation of how we are and how our emotions are is fascinating. A guy called Dr. Carol Izzard said we have 10 emotions, and they are as follows: joy, surprise, sadness, anger, disgust, contempt, shame, guilt, interest and excitement. Okay, the interest and excitement are awes. Okay, so that's 10 altogether. A lot of people said, well, why isn't pride there and why isn't love there? And what he believed is that they're just a subsection of those core kind of beliefs and the way we are as individuals. So what I'm saying is that we have a whole array of emotions. And one of the things I think is very important is to understand how these emotions can be categorized. Now, if you'd have read on my kind of section, I spoke about theories of emotions. And I'm going to talk about a few of the theories and just get you thinking about how we do things. So the first one is very important, is the James Lange theory. All right, let me explain the James Lange theory. A bear, you're having a picnic, a bear comes running towards you, okay? This is the James Lange theory, okay? The stimuli is the bear, all right? Because it's gonna kill you, all right? The behavior is that your heart starts to beat, okay? You then have a thought, oh my gosh, I think I'm in big trouble. And then the feeling is, right, I'm scared. What James Lange believed, right? Now, James Lange, they're two separate individuals, just the surnames of them. What they believed is that we only react on the behavior, all right? So it's the emotion follows the behavior, okay? Now, a lot of people didn't believe in this because they said, well, in other words, you're saying when your heart is beating fast that you're scared. And as you can appreciate, that's not true, because I could be dancing, I could be playing football, and my heartbeat might be still going fast. So it doesn't mean I'm scared. So that theory in itself wasn't used a lot, but it still is used. Here's another theory. Another theory is called the Canon band theory, yeah? Canon board theory, okay? Now, what that is, you have the stimulus, yeah? You have the bear is running towards you, okay? You then have a thought in your head, but the behavior and the feeling kicks in first. So what happens, you have a oh my gosh, there's a bear running towards me. Your heart starts to beat. You then have a feeling of fear, and then you run. So in other words, simultaneously, you have the behavior and the feeling act together. All right, see the difference there? So with the James Lang, it's just the behavior. And then the body will read the behavior, okay? With the Canon Bard, what happens, you've got two simultaneously, the behavior and the feeling together. The next one is the Shachter and Singer theory. Bear running towards you, your behavior is, oh my gosh, what's going on? I'm terrified. However, your cognitive thinking then kicks in, where you ask yourself, what's going on here? I wonder if this bear's going to attack me. And then it sends a signal to your feelings. You think, oh my gosh, it is, and then you run. Okay, so that is the Shachter Singer theory. The last one, which I just love, is the Lazarus Theory. Check this out, guys. The bear's running towards you. Cognitively, you think and you kind of praise whether the bear's going to run towards you, or it's going to stay away, or it might come halfway. You then have a feeling of, yeah, I think I'm in trouble, and then you run. So what you've got your thoughts, your feelings, and your behaviour. Very similar to CBT. So those three or those four styles are how we often can look at emotions and how we deal with our emotions. Now, I'm just studying this, so a lot of what I just said there, I'm kind of trying to remember myself. So hopefully that's kind of got you thinking a little bit how our emotions work and the effect emotions can have. Now, a guy called Dr. Hank Green said that introverted people are very good at reading feelings and other people's feelings. Extroverted people are very good at maybe reading their self or external feelings. They're more about the external rather than the internal. So feelings are massive. And what I want to do is give you some tips now. It's one massive tip actually, to really help you look at how you feel when things are not going right. Now, this is where I got it from. A guy called Leo Gura, I spell the surname, Gura, and he runs a business called Actualize.org. Now, I found out about this guy about 2 weeks ago, part of my assignment. Absolutely brilliant. So what he suggests is this, and I love this. I've written it down, so I've kind of got to use it as a bit of a guide. So he calls it a 7-day emotional challenge. All right. He says, be extra aware. Now I'm going to do a separate session on awareness, but be extra aware of when you have a negative thought. He said, forget about the positive thoughts now. Forget that. When you have a negative thought, so in other words, when you are perhaps feeling lonely, feeling down, I don't know, maybe on Sunday if you're on your own, I don't know, whatever. When you're feeling down, he said he wants you to just observe, like kind of stand back and observe the feeling. All right, it's called awareness of the feeling. I know it sounds like a really strange thing to do, but what he says is that when you're able to become more aware of your negative feelings, you have a growing conscience of your negative feelings. That makes sense. So often when we're angry, it's like, oh, we kick off and everything's just lost. All right. This is great to practice. So when you're feeling really, really down, ask yourself, why am I feeling down? Now, and that's obvious because you've got these things that are giving you the reasons why. But what he's asking you to do is just observe it. Just like on a conveyor belt. You go to Tesco's and you see the food being, as you're going to pay for it. He just suggests that you just observe it. Don't do anything about it. And I found that kind of like, what? Surely you're meant to do something about it. He said, that's the opposite. He said, get into the habit of being aware of your negative thoughts. That just kind of blew my mind away. And this was a CBT technique given to a client of his to go away for 7 days. Okay? So don't worry about the positive stuff for now, because I know there's a lot of negative out there, so you're gonna find negative stuff. But he talks about observing your negative feelings, being aware of them, but don't do anything about them. What he then says is start to realizing that your negative behavior comes from your thoughts, right? That's the start. Then your feelings kick in, and then your behavior. Do you see? So I suppose what he's saying, if you can be conscious, aware of that negative incident, don't necessarily have to do anything, just be aware of it. It could be enough just to, hold on a minute, why am I thinking so negative about this? All of a sudden the feeling goes away and you then don't behave in a negative manner. 7-day challenge. I thought it was absolutely brilliant. I put that in my assignment and I think it will make a massive difference. Boom, guys. I hope you have found that really useful. One of the things I want to do is constantly share the stuff I'm learning, because I'm learning at the moment, as I said, and what I want to be able to do is not only being able to kind of give this to you, but me at the same time learning as I do. I want to give some massive thanks out to Alex Wilson, who was on the OSSR show, my breakfast show on Sunday. Thank you so much, and we really appreciate it. And he's coming back, which is really great. And after that, we have Nolita Golding, who's on there. She's sung some amazing salsa tunes. No doubt you'll recognise them when we go back to salsa. Just amazing. So really, really thanks very much indeed, and look forward, Alex, to having you back. Thanks to the ladies there. I want to thank Sharon Geraldine as well for the cooking tips. Thank you, Eileen. You know, I'm in the kitchen. I just love it. You can't keep me out of the kitchen. I never said the food was always good, but I just love doing it. So thank you so much for the tips. These videos, guys, I'm on number 6 at the moment. If you've missed any of the other ones, and I've covered loads of stuff, internal, external, locus of control. I've spoken about how our behaviors are, how the mind works, and psychology. Guys, just go to YouTube, type in Orange Online Learning. Please subscribe as well. The subscription's coming up, which is really good. And you'll get notifications whenever I do any of these videos. Guys, thank you so much. I really, really appreciate you taking the time out to listen to me. As I always state, guys, it's not just about getting through this. It's about getting from it and learning as much as we can. Guys, have a great weekend. It's Valentine's weekend. Have a great weekend. Take care of yourself. See you later.